Dr. Susan Spillman here. Why does Magical You work? Work to help people feel better, to release feelings that are bothering them, that are bogging them down, keeping them stuck. Why does it work? There are many approaches that work on feelings and identifying feelings and that kind of thing. So what's different about Magical You? And what is different, in my view, is that we work specifically with subconscious programming. So what does this mean? So when we're children, sometimes later in life, we have experiences that are difficult for us, that create a lot of pain at that time. And if those aren't resolved, those get lodged in our subconscious, which is a bit like a computer and a hard drive. The subconscious remembers everything. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. It's like a hard drive. It just I can't think of the word. It just allows everything to come in, okay? And so that's what happens with our life. You know, our life events happen, it goes into the subconscious, it stays in the subconscious until we release it. And it can, so for example, if you have a child who has had some kind of injury, they've fallen down the stairs, they've fallen off their bike, that kind of thing, and they're very upset. They're upset about that. And they run home, or their mother comes around, and the mother is very upset herself that the child is hurt. And sometimes parents say things that they don't necessarily mean, but because they're upset. So the parent might yell at the child, "Why were you so clumsy? Why weren't you watching where you were going? I told you not to do that." You know, these kinds of things that the child often experiences as very traumatic and unhelpful. And so what happens is the child starts to incorporate that into their belief system. When I do something, when I get hurt, people don't like me, people are mad at me. That's one example of what can happen. Now, of course, if the parent is very nurturing and caring and talk to the child about their feelings and how upsetting this was and that kind of thing, then it doesn't get lodged in the subconscious as a negative experience. It gets lodged as a positive experience, like, oh, people can be so helpful to me, they're there for me, I can count on people, that kind of thing. So that's an example of the two different kinds of ways that the subconscious works. The negative way, you know, when there's kind of punishment or non-responsiveness, and the positive way. So to get back to Magical You, what we do with Magical You is that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the negative self-conscious programming. And how we do that is with this game. And so when people choose how they're feeling, where did that feeling happen? Then we often get a little bit of history about that, like what was the situation, what happened, and so we can see where it came from, where that came from. Often it's, for a child, it's usually right in their immediate situation, of course, because they haven't stored up things in their life. But for adults, it often goes back to an earlier age. And so we get that kind of information. And then we ask, do you want to release this? Okay. Now, of course, you'd think most people would, and most people do want to release it. But sometimes people do say no. They want to hold on to it. They want to understand it better. They're not ready to release it, you know, different reasons. But what we do then is we release that. And the point here is that we're releasing some of that subconscious programming. We're using the cards as a tool to do that. But what's happening is we're actually releasing those feelings. So it's not just identifying the feelings, but it's being able to release the feelings so that the person can feel freer and not bothered by those feelings anymore. And then the rest of the game goes on to help the person identify what they need in these kind of circumstances. Friend, listened to, supported, that kind of thing. And the end of the game then shifts to what we would think of as positive subconscious programming. It's like, what do you want to feel? How are you choosing to feel? And this is a very exciting part of the game because you can see that people are ready to choose something different, and we have a particular way of doing that with them so that they can incorporate those feelings into their body more and more. So this is a brief, very brief description of what we do with Magical You and why it works. It all has to do with subconscious programming. So I look forward to talking with you more.